Hi, I'm Renelle Golden, and you're listening to the Movie Making Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Audible.
Did you know Audible is the leading destination for audio storytelling? It's a great way to kick off your day while consuming content you love. From business and motivation to new releases and bestsellers, Audible has something for everybody. The best part is that Audible offers new members a free 30-day trial when they use our podcast link to sign up. So why not take advantage of all that Audible has to offer? You'll not only get to try out Audible for free, but you'll also get a free credit to use toward any title you want. Head on over to audibletrial.com/moviemakingpod. That's audibletrial.com/moviemakingpod to get your very own free 30-day trial of Audible today. As the leading destination for audio storytelling, Audible is an easy choice for audio entertainment.
Everybody, we are here with Bennet Yellin. How are you doing today, Bennett?
Renelle, I am doing terrific. Wait, is this a multiple choice question? Because maybe I jumped the gun.
Hold on. No.
How am I doing it? Okay, it's a fill-in. All right.
The only answer is terrific.
I'm doing great. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. This is the best beginning of any show you've ever had. Okay. So just this morning, I walked into my kitchen and this adorable little rodent was looking at me. A rat, but a big one. And it ran off. And I said, well, you are cute and let's, but I don't think we could live together. So I went and I have a humane animal trap.
Oh my God, this is a true story.
This is a true story. And I set it up like 2 hours ago and put cheese in and everything like that. And it's in my kitchen. And just before you said, or as you said, okay, let's go. And we started recording. I heard it. I heard it go in the kitchen. So
oh my God. Do you need to go check it or like you need to go check on it?
Oh no, the suspense. Are you kidding me? And ruin the suspense of all this? No, we'll wait till afterwards. Your listeners are going to want to come back and find out.
Be like part 2. What happened to the rat? Oh my God. I know. Where are you? You're in LA, right?
That's called storytelling. That is absolutely true. And when I heard the noise, I went, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh my God! Yeah, you have a cat. They're going to be like,
maybe it is a cat. I don't know what's going to be in it.
Oh, you never know. You never know. And if you do have a cat, they need to be fired because they're supposed to get
right. You're absolutely right. No, it was so cute, and it just looked at me. We had an understanding. It was like, all right. I mean, you're adorable, but
not going to hurt you, but you're out.
Right.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome though. All right.
I will let you know so that you can let your readers know.
Yeah. No, whatever it is was harmed in the making of this podcast.
No. And you can see it. You can't hear you don't hear anything bad. So
yeah, he's eating cheese. It's the good life.
I put a bunch of cheese in there to make sense. It's sitting there nibbling and knowing that I'm going to let him out. He, she.
Yeah.
I don't want to, pick a gender and
be wrong these days.
Right.
Yeah.
Rats may have a lot of sensitivity to gender fluidity.
That's good. I never even would have thought of that for a rat.
There you go.
A rat, cat's a cat, but no, it's all good.
And there's your best opening ever.
Ever. Oh my God. I've never lived this one. Now people are going to have to live up to this. Oh my God. I'm going to expect more from now on. I'm going to be like, what story are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me a story.
They just have to trap a larger animal, and it has to happen literally as the show begins.
Yes, I love it. That is hysterical. Okay, but we're here to talk about screenwriting. Yes, I digress or whatever.
If this was a Netflix show, that we could talk about that.
We could.
Yeah,
absolutely. We could pretend for a while, but let's talk about you. So you are a screenwriter and you are best known for some really kick-ass funny comedies, Dumb and Dumber. I love them. And
thank you.
They were just so awesome. But let's go back before that. Mm-hmm. How the heck did you become a screenwriter and when did you decide, I'm going to write, movies and screenplays?
This is a really good story, and there's answers to both of those questions, and it's going to probably take us at least 45 minutes. But
okay.
Well,
I didn't set the timer.
Here's the thing. When I was a kid, I loved movies. I grew up in the 60s. I was born in 1959. So I grew up in the 60s. And television was everything. It brought everything into the household. It was the babysitter. It was the family entertainment. And I loved watching movies. And I couldn't get enough of them.
Yeah.
And somehow when I watched them, I was always fascinated about how they were made, and the more I watched them, the more I tried to figure out how they were done because it was like a magic show. It really was. And I was a magician as a kid. So to me, it really was like this magic show that they're putting on for us. And I'm like, how did they do that? I was just fascinated. And at a certain point when I was young, I was like, I would love to do that. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get to do it.
Yeah.
But I would love to do that.
Were you telling stories when you were a young kid?
I was telling stories. I was writing stories. I'd write stories and bring them to class and read them to class. So yeah. And I read a lot. I loved books, loved them, and books and stories. And so, So I think I've just naturally gravitated to storytelling, not just watching it and listening to it and reading it, but just the mechanics behind it. I just, in a natural way, took in whatever if you could learn all the things about it, I was learning it just in the most,
authentic
and organic way.
Yes, organic. I love that word for writing.
So it was something what I wanted to do and fantasize about and never, ever thought I would ever do. I mean, there's just no way.
Oh, at what point did you kind of transition? When you were in college, or was it before you're like, I'm going to do this?
It was a little earlier, and this is how it happened. I had my favorite writer was a wonderful writer who also happened to be, he was a novelist who also happened to be a screenwriter named William Goldman, who at this point, William Goldman is famous for having written The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
And the screenplay, and an Academy Award-winning screenplay writer of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh, wow.
And it was the second screenplay was All the President's Men, and he was really one of the most famous screenwriters in
that time,
writing history, right?
Yeah,
and I loved him. I loved William Goldman. I loved his books, the way Marathon Man and the Princess Bride, and I loved the way he wrote. The way he wrote was the way my brain thought. So I would flow through his books like I was on a white water ride. Okay, so comfortable and so relaxing, and I loved it. And in the book, The Princess Bride, he had a character. There's a villain named Yellin in the friggin' Princess Bride.
Okay, that makes sense. Were you there?
I'm like, what is going on? So, and I was in high school, and I wrote him a fan letter. This is when there was no email then. So I wrote,
back in the day, we had pens.
Back in the day, right? This is in the 70s. Mid 70s, and at the end of I just gushed, and I said, and you've got this character named Yellin. That's my last name, and I love The Princess Bride and all that. And then at the end of the letter, I wrote, P.S. You're under no obligation to answer this, but if you don't, I'll kill myself. and I sent that off to him.
I mean, it's not. Wait. Oh.
And this is 1975, coming from a high school kid.
Oh wow.
This was middle of, so I was like not a freshman, a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And then I get a letter back from him, and the letter was dated when I opened it. It was handwritten and dated, not typed, but handwritten. And it was handwritten on my birthday of November 8th, 1975. And I was like,
oh my God, that's so cool.
This isn't the most perfect gift.
Destiny.
This is destiny. And here's what it said. It said, Dear Bennett, I don't normally answer letters. I hate writing them. But after reading your note, I couldn't have you killing yourself either.
Save life.
Thank you so much for the flattery. I'll try my best not to believe it. Sincerely, William Goldman.
Oh, that was so cool. Do you still have that letter?
I wish I did. I don't. Of course, if I did, it would be bronze. It wouldn't be. Yeah,
it would just be the start of it all hanging on.
Thank goodness I remember it verbatim. And when I got that, I said, "That's it. I want to be William Goldman." And that was the moment where, for me, I was like, "Okay." And I thought, okay, well, what I have to do is, I know William Goldman, he got his degrees and he thought he was going to go teach writing at college. And that's why I said, okay, I'll do that. That's the path. So I've got,
you have some stability. while
right. At least because he never in the letter or anything else said this is how you do it. I mean, I didn't have a blueprint for how I was going to go do it.
Right.
But that was what I dreamed about. And so I said, well, go get your writing degrees and we'll take it step by step from that. So I went to UCLA as an undergraduate because I live in Los Angeles and I always have been. And then when I had to go, pardon me, what?
You were born and bred.
I was born and bred. Yeah. Yes, I was.
Very cool.
And then when it was time to go to graduate school, I wanted to get my graduate degree because I wanted to teach creative writing. I went to University of Massachusetts in Amherst, and that's where I got my graduate degree. And on the we are getting to, Bennett is getting to answering how this all happened.
There's no hurry. I'm enjoying the ride.
But the clue is on the first day of graduate school, the first time I was ever away from home because I was living at home when I was going to UCLA because it was really close. I mean, I just took the bus there and back every day. But the first day of graduate school in Massachusetts, I meet someone in my first class. He's sitting across from me, and his name is Peter Farley.
Wow.
You can see how this is coming together. So Pete and I, we instantly bonded in that first class. There was a funny moment where the teacher said something unintentionally funny, and both of us looked across the table and we started giggling. And so after class, in the hallway, we introduced each other. We said, it was so funny. I'm Peter Farley, I'm Bennet Yellin. Now we're friends, instant friends, first class. So we're friends and we're in grad school together. And at a certain point, we figure out rather quickly that we have the same ridiculous sense of humor. We just share this nutty
partners in crime.
Right. And we said, let's write a movie together. Neither of us had any connection to the business. Neither of us. Peter was from Rhode Island, Cumberland, Rhode Island. His father was a doctor. His mother was his
very
nurse.
different.
Yeah. And my parents had no connection with the business at all. But we said, let's do it. And once again, it wasn't like we know what to do afterwards, or
Did you even know the format at that point? Did you learn that in your?
No, we
just really dived in.
Sat down and dived in. I don't think remember this was pre-internet. It was pre-Google. There were only 2 or 3 books that actually had a format. One was Sid Field's very famous book, which actually was the book that I think William Goldman said he went to a newsstand and found when he was hired to write a script by Cliff Robertson. He went to a newsstand and found this book. So at a certain point, we may have looked at the book.
Okay.
But we just made it up. I mean, there was no screenwriting. There's no computers. There's no word processor. There's no screenwriting program, right? We write this script, and it was a silly comedy called Dust to Dust. And it was about 2 idiots. At that time, Bill Murray was in the cast of Saturday Night Live. We're talking 83.
Yeah. Okay.
83, 84.
Yeah.
And John Candy from SCTV was really big. And so we loved them both. So it was about 2 guys, and we imagined Bill Murray and John Candy, who get a job. They meet and they get a job at a discount funeral home that advertises like special holiday layaway sales.
Oh my God.
And don't get buried with high prices, things like that. And it turns out that the funeral home is actually a mob cover, that they're smuggling drugs instead of bodies. And so it's called Dust to Dust. Now we have this ridiculous comedy, Dust to Dust. What do we do with it? I mean, really, what do we do with it? We're in Massachusetts.
Right. You figured it out, though.
Here's what we did. So Peter was on a date in New York. He went on a date in New York, and the girl on the date said, "You'll never believe who moved in next door to my parents in Alpine, New Jersey. Eddie Murphy." And Peter was like, Eddie Murphy? No, this is 80. This is 80.
I love this story.
This is 85. Okay.
He was pretty well known. In
85, Eddie Murphy was the #1 box office. He had made 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop. And coming out of Beverly Hills Cop, he was absolutely the #1 box office.
Oh yeah. I lived for him. I loved his funny.
And this was at the when he exploded, coming right from Saturday Night Live. And so he said, "Do you ever see him?" And she said, "Oh yeah, I saw him like washing his car, and and I just said hello to him." And Peter, by the end of the date,
light bulb.
Peter said, he said, would you give him our script? And she was like, sure. He gave her the script, Dust to Dust. And a few days later, she called and said, he was out in the driveway and I ran out and I gave it to him. All right.
Okay.
She actually gave it to him again. So none of this
so
could
different
happen
now. Yeah.
In 2023, much less a physical script.
Yeah.
To anybody. Physical scripts have disappeared. They're all emailed. They're all on a flash drive.
Yeah.
Meantime, this was just at the end of 85. I came back home for the holiday of 85, just for I'm Jewish, so I was come for the Jewish holidays, right. Hanukkah. And my older sister, Freda, and there's a character in Dumb and Dumber named Freda Felcher. We named Freda after my sister. That's where we got that.
I want to name something after my sister. I love that.
Yeah, they will be eternally grateful. My sister gets a lot of
talk about it for ages. Yeah,
gets a lot of attention from this.
It's so fun.
Freda would go dancing, like folk dancing and Israeli dancing, and she knew one of the guys who wrote the movie Airplane, David Zucker. She knew one of the Zucker brothers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Dancing.
Okay.
And so I asked Freda, I said, Freda, would you ask David if he would read our script, Dust to Dust? And she said, sure, I'll ask him. And he said, yes. And so Freda gave David Zucker our script, Dust to Dust.
Oh, wow.
Now, again, it wouldn't happen today. If you asked David Zucker to read something today, he'd say no.
Hard.
If you asked Eddie Murphy he'd say no. But this is the mid 80s, and we just lucked out, and we had access to these people in a way that nobody else. You couldn't do it and they wouldn't, because of legal reasons. You can't, if you were to try it, you just can't. You don't want to be legally vulnerable. Someone can say, well, I sent you my script, and then that ended up.
My idea. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I don't read scripts. And
I was going to ask. No, I'm just kidding.
I would have gently let you down.
Thanks.
But in a nice way.
Yeah, it's all good.
So a few months passed by, and here's where, now I'm about to graduate from graduate school in Amherst there. And I get a letter from my dad. I went on vacation and I'm coming back, and my place, I'd sold everything. I was living like 2 days before I was gonna leave. And I come back from this vacation late at night, and I grab all these letters that had accumulated in the 8 days I've been gone. And I'm sitting there reading them, and there's a letter from my dad, and it's an LA Times story. And the top of it, at the top of it, my dad had scribbled like, "Is this your script?" And let me see. Okay, let me see if I can find it right here.
Oh my God, this is how this. Oh my God.
If I can't, I usually can't. I didn't realize I was gonna get to this, but shoot. Okay.
Oh, I love this story though.
I could just tell you what it said. It's called the Eddie Murphy Script Derby. Oh, here it is. They can't see it. The Eddie Murphy Script Derby.
I can grab a screenshot. Hold it up.
Okay.
And I'll show it to them.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Okay.
The Eddie Murphy Script Derby. Winner takes all.
Okay.
All right. Wanted. Movie vehicle for Eddie Murphy. Must be mint condition, packed with spills, chills, and laughs. Romantic subplot nice, but not required. Seller should be seasoned pro, but all comers welcome. Okay. On a recent Sunday morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Go. Yeah.
No, that's so cool. I'm sorry. I'm just reveling in how cool that is.
All right. Well, this is the beginning. I remember my dad had written, this is just a copy of it. My dad had written, "Is this your script?" On a recent Sunday morning, Eddie Murphy glanced out the living room window of his Alpine, New Jersey home and noticed a neighbor standing in the front yard. Under his arm, the man carried a script, a sight that made Murphy take a deep breath as he opened the front door. After chatting briefly, Murphy dutifully tucked Dust to Dust under his arm. Later that night, on a flight to Houston for a concert, Murphy started to read. He liked what he read. It made him laugh. Now Murphy wants to option the story, and the neighbor is on the verge of selling his first script to Hollywood. Well, they changed the gender. It was a she, but that's what happened.
That's how your career started?
That is how our career started. Eddie read it. He loved it. He came back to LA, and they were searching for us, but we weren't anywhere. We weren't represented by anyone.
In the paper. Oh my God, that's so cool.
That's why they mentioned it in the paper. We were like, what the heck? And we called Paramount and we said, hey, you know that article that was about us? And they said, we've been looking for you.
Wow. So your first film that you wrote got made by Eddie Murphy.
It didn't get made, but it got us.
But it got in his hands.
It got us, like, we ended up, okay, so Paramount said, we've been looking for you. Eddie wants to meet you. And we ended up writing a movie for Eddie. In the meantime, my sister Freda said, Bennett, David Zucker wants to talk to you. And I get on the phone with David Zucker. He says, hey, we love your script, Dust to Dust. We would love for you to write for us. So that happened. And the Zuckers had just done Airplane and were about to release Top Gun, their next,
wow.
Not Top Gun, but Top Secret.
Wow.
So that's what happened. That script getting into their hands led to our careers beginning.
That is amazing.
It is amazing. It
so
really couldn't happen again. Yeah.
People, like, there's totally like fate or destiny or something going on there. And people may not believe in it, but wow.
I know. And in fact, there was right soon after this, Eddie Murphy was on David Letterman. David Letterman asked him, he said, now, is it true that your neighbor actually handed you a script? And he said, yeah, it's true.
He's like, don't get any ideas. Oh my God.
Probably not. But wow. That's how we started out.
That is amazing. And then you ended up did you go to work for Paramount?
Yes, we did. We wrote, Eddie wanted to, he was filming this movie, The Golden Child, and but he wanted to direct. He really wanted to direct. And he asked us to write he said he wanted a teenage Robin Hood story. And so we wrote it. But what happens is when your stars in your movies and as your movie, he's making your movies,
also directing them.
You don't want him to direct. You want him to star and keep starring. So Paramount kept saying, no, we don't want you to direct. We want you to keep and put pressure on him. And so it never happened. He never made it. And we would see him a couple of times later. And every time he'd say, guys, I really loved it was called Young Robbers. I really wanted to do it, but it never happened. But
so did you keep writing with your colleague that you wrote the Dusk film with?
Yes. So that was Peter Farrelly, who's one of the Farrelly brothers. And so Peter and I started writing together as a team. And we wrote for several years, working together as a team. And we would always, Peter's brother Bobby, who was in business school and was not going to school for writing or anything like that. Bobby had a great sense of humor too. He was he's a very funny guy. And
family thing.
It's a family thing. There's no, in that family, they're all really shrewd, funny, sharp, twisted people. but
yeah, I love that.
It's a lovely family. His father was just hysterical. So we would give it to Bobby to read our scripts, and he would read them, and he'd always give us great suggestions, funny lines, ideas, and we'd always incorporate them. So at one point in our career, Pete said we were about to write a sequel to the movie Dragnet. The Dragnet with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd. And Pete said, "What if we asked Bob to join us on the team as a trio?" And I was like, "Absolutely, he's terrific." And he's so that's when Bobby joined us.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then we wrote together until we all I kind of went my separate way.
Yeah,
just because I moved away. You couldn't write from different places. You really
you've got to be there.
There weren't computers. There were word processors, but not computers.
So Dumb and Dumber. How did you come up with that idea?
So here's how we came up with it. We were, and I don't remember what he read of ours. So John Hughes had a deal at Universal Studios. And if he was working at Universal Studios, that suggests to me that probably he read our Dragnet script.
Gotcha.
Because we were doing that for Universal at the time. But he read a script of ours and he called us into the office and he said, "Guys, I like your writing. I think you're funny. I want you to write a movie for me." And we were like, "Well, we love you." And
cool. Yeah.
He said, "Come back in and pitch a movie to me." All right. Okay. Wide open door there. Nice.
You got 3 days.
Yeah. Right. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if it was that quick of a turnaround. But
oh my gosh. Wow.
And we went in and we pitched him Dumb and Dumber. We pitched him the plot of it. And he loved it. He loved it. And he said, go ahead and write that. I love that. If you write it and if I like it, I'll let you direct it. I remember he said those infamous words because
Did you want to direct it?
We weren't even. It's nothing we'd ever thought about.
Oh my God! It would be scary if you hadn't done it, right?
Hadn't done it, and none of us, the three of us had any film school training. Although I had made movies as a kid, like Super 8 movies, and I loved it. But no, we didn't have any real training, and so.
You didn't direct it though, right? I don't remember you directing that.
No. Peter and Bobby directed. Okay. Right. Yeah. But no, I didn't. I was happily off to the side, not sweating and anxious all the time.
It's its own thing, right?
Oh, it's what a director does.
Yeah.
The best thing, what's really nice is when you co-write a screenplay with the director, you get to have all the fun of being
none of the stress.
A director and none of the stress. None of it. You go home, you sleep, you have a nice night.
No ulcers.
No ulcers. Wow. No more than you normally have. Oh, no ulcers on ulcers.
What inspired you for the concept for Dumb and Dumber? Did you base it on like friendships you had, or like where did you guys reach for that? Because those two guys are just, they're crazy.
It's interesting. What I can say is this: once we always gravitate toward, we always like stupid characters who were who were stupider than they seemed. Like there's something kind of charming, and there's something charming about someone who's
innocent or something.
It's a dense innocence.
Yes. Yeah. A good way to put it.
Yeah, and we like that we like that in a character. I remember in Dust to Dust, the John Candy character was very much that.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of adorable, and it was very much because we based it on John Candy. It was sort of like that. And then Pete is the sort of person who listens. He's like really great writers are also great listeners, and they listen in conversation. They hear things, they retain it, they remember. Pete would write down. He had notebooks of funny things he'd hear, a line in a story at a party. Someone says he'd keep it all written down.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'd pull it out. He'd pull them out, and before we'd write a script, we would go through and say, like, what could we use in this? And so I know we did that for Dumb and Dumber. We were like, what can we use?
Just collect it out.
We wrote the script. He loved it, and then as often what happens when directors have deals at studios. The deal ended, and he tried to renegotiate, and he couldn't make a deal with Universal, so he ended up going to 20th Century Fox.
Oh, wow!
And what happens is all the stuff that director or that producer, of which he was both, all the stuff they developed for that studio just falls into the crevasse. Yeah, it just goes into cold storage because the studio isn't going to let them take the scripts that they paid for with them to another deal, because maybe they'll
take the same concept and just rewrite it, or
not even that. There's a certain amount of copyright with them. So
red tape.
But it was just sort of, so it went into limbo, and we couldn't do anything with it.
Oh,
and we always knew it was such a funny screenplay, And in the meantime, we were going and we were getting other assignments and writing things, and we wrote for Warner Brothers a film adaptation of the Beverly Hillbillies, which I think is the funniest thing we ever did.
I've probably seen that, yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
I loved them when I was young.
Yeah. And
innocent and goofy.
And we really nailed it. And once again, there's that quality of lovable stupidity. We nailed it, but that didn't get made.
One of them had their own special brand.
Yes. Yeah.
I loved it. I'm probably the old lady, but Granny, I forget what you call her.
Everybody, like, if you saw it, it was hugely popular on television.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We used to just dream of watching that. Days a week it was on or something, the series. And
it initiated a whole kind of like country comedy wave for television. Petticoat Junction, things like that. And
I remember that one too. Were you guys involved in that?
No.
Oh, okay. That one was.
I don't think they ever tried to do it. They may have tried to do a feature of it, but we weren't involved in that.
Gotcha.
And so after a few years, we were like, oh, you know what? Dumb and Dumber is such a funny script. We went back to John and we said, John, can we take Dumb and Dumber around, because it's just lying there, and see if we can set it up somewhere? And he gave us permission. He said, yes, absolutely, you can take it, which was very great, very gracious of him. He said, but if you use my name, Like I'm not
the
producer of it. Yeah, if you use my name, you have to pay me. You have to pay me $1 million. So we never paid. Yeah, I mean, we never used his name. We never, and so as a result, thank goodness. And that's how it led to being available. And then we took it around. Our agents took it around to set up, and we finally got a small little company that said they would make it for like under $1 million. But once they signed on, everyone turned it down. Everyone turned it down twice. But once this small company called
everyone wanted it.
They're like, wow. That's just typical of the business. It's like, oh, wait, what? That's getting interest? Oh, all right.
Did you end up keeping it with the small company, or did you move it to the big one?
We kept it. It ended up being a co-production with the small company, Motion Picture Corporation of America, and New Line Cinema. And New Line had just made The Mask. With Jim Carrey.
Wow, Jim Carrey. Yeah. Okay.
And so they thought this would be a great vehicle for Jim. And Jim read the script and loved it and wanted to do it. So that's how it got to Jim.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I didn't know that. Both of those guys were so just beautiful on screen. They were just perfect. And of course, the one scene that comes to mind is licking the light post in the winter,
which happened to one of the producers of Dumb and Dumber. Brad. That happened to him,
and that's where you kind of got that from. Did you find that those actors brought a lot of improv to it when you finally saw the finished product? You probably weren't on set back then as a writer. You were probably nearby for rewrites or something.
I was only on set for a few days on that one. I was on set a lot of Dumb and Dumber 2, but for Dumb and Dumber 1, because Pete and Bobby were they were directing for the first time, and it was just everything was like, let's let them have their space to do this. Nerve-wracking.
Oh, that makes sense. So did it shock you when you saw the finished product? But because Jim Carrey, he's known for improv. So, for throwing things into these characters, were you like surprised? Like, oh my God, look what he brought to the character,
I was so thrilled because first of all, the first time I met him, and I knew him from In Living Color.
Right. That's what I knew him from. Great show. Yeah.
Right. But the first time I met him, it was the day that I saw Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura had come out, and it was a big hit. He was really hot off of it. And so, and in Ace Ventura, his performance is so extreme. It's so crazy extreme.
Yeah, he stuck his head in something or some crazy.
He doesn't. Every line was just
very physical comedy.
Yes,
over the top.
And I thought, oh my gosh, is he going to do that with Lloyd and Dumb and Dumber? And the first thing he said when I met him, he shook my hand. He said, "I just want to assure you, I'm not doing Ace Ventura."
He knew what you were going to be worrying about. Oh, that's magical.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, this was nice of him. He put us at ease. And so, what I love about a movie is I love the teamwork of a movie, and I love the idea that every part of the team, they do their best, they hand it in, and then that gets taken, and then the next person does their best, and then when it comes out well, it's great because everyone did their best and they lifted it up. And those actors, Jim and Jeff, they took that screenplay. If you read the script are the words, and they're exact words they say.
Yeah.
But their performance and everything, and also their chemistry, because they instantly loved each other and felt comfortable with each other. So I was thrilled to see how they lifted it. I mean,
that is so cool.
Yeah,
they
were wonderful. We were so lucky. You talk about whether, was it meant to be? I don't know. I don't know those things. I just know that with this movie, every part of it as it went along from its inception felt like a green light, like, oh wow, this is going. Oh wow, this is going. And then, on the first day of the shooting, Peter and Bobby took the crew and said, "Look, this is our first movie. We only want please, if you have a suggestion, all we want is the best product, and all of us want to make the best movie possible. So there's no ego here. Let us know."
Let's be a team. Oh my God, I love that.
If we love it.
That is not common. That is not common.
It's not common, and it was such a brilliant way of approaching being, freshmen. We're not. We want. come to us, let us know. And that's why they're the people they work with, they've worked with over and over again, because they create this family. There's really a family whose the interest is, let's just make the best thing we all want to be proud about. So
that's amazing. Oh my God. And then of course you were a producer or something on the second one.
I was only credited as like a producer, but it was just a vanity credit. I had nothing to do with Dumb and Dumberer. I didn't like none of us liked the idea of a prequel where they're in high school, because the whole idea is these are adults who act like they're high school students. So if they're really high school students, it's just not as funny as they're adults, So we passed on that. Yeah. But I did say, well, you can, list me as a executive producer, because I thought, it's not going to hurt to have my name on it, no matter what.
No. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it too. I
could only watch it once, and once was enough.
As writers, sometimes we see what we love it, right? But then when it's up there and it's not what we envisioned, it's hard.
You never. That's the other thing with this movie was like, with Dumb and Dumber, it just, we knew when we were watching it, when we were writing it, we thought it was funny. When we were filming it, we thought it was funny. When we were watching it cut together, we thought it was funny. When we watched an audience watching it, the audience thought it was fun. It was one of those green. It was just like, although I didn't know that it would be the enormous hit.
It was awesome.
I certainly did not know that it would be this enduring movie that became a part of the cultural zeitgeist. That's something you can't possibly plan for. I mean, you think of the thousands and thousands of movies that get made, and even the thousands and thousands of movies that have won Academy Awards.
Yes.
How many of them end up being quoted on the news?
Do you know that movie is so impactful that I mentioned to one of my writing partners, not my main one. Well, he is my 22-year-old son. And I mentioned to him that I was going to be talking to you. And I don't fangirl or go crazy. I just love the fact that you have so much to share, right?
Yes.
He knows the movie, right?
Yep, 21, he would be. Yes.
He was born how many years after? But that movie made an impact on him. And I was like, oh, wow. So, and of course, everyone knows the same few scenes and this and that, but it's marvelous that you have had that type of thing. And so comedy is your forte, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Comedy is what I love doing. Because remember, when I was a kid, my dream was, the reason I wanted to write movies was I wanted to make the world smile. I remember thinking this as a kid. I'm like, I just want to take people away from their troubles for a little bit. However I can do it.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Make them feel better. And I have this thing where when I write, I like to kill people.
There you go. So, you want to take people away, literally.
Don't look at my backyard, please. No. But
wait a minute. I'm picking up.
Yeah. I gotta go.
Excuse me for a moment, Renelle. 911.
There's another one. Oh no. But I think personally, comedy is very hard to write. To find that lighthearted, I find it very hard. And I can write a rom-com, but it's really hard not to take it to that next level. Comedy requires more finesse, more, I don't even know the right word I'm looking for. It's just, it doesn't come easy for me. Maybe it's easy for other people, but when I see people do it, I'm just like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I think that we honestly need more comedy.
Oh, please.
Right now, the world is so intense.
We can't have enough. I mean, there can't be too much, but I agree with you. I think that comedy there's an innateness to the ability to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the same reason that just a person plucked off the street couldn't be put on stage and do stand up. You have to process things in a comedic way, and that's a very particular way of thinking. Yeah. And I'm not even saying it's a technical thing. It's not, because I've often thought you can't teach people to be funny.
Right.
You can probably teach them a lot of the technique that there are, because there are probably technique if you want to break it down. But if you don't have the innate ability, and it's the same thing I imagine with being a great athlete. If you don't have that innately, you're not going to be one. And I think that's the same thing with comedy. You have to like I've always been funny all my life,
and you can make people smile. You can make them laugh.
And I've seen the world. Absolutely, I've seen the world. I made my parents cry a lot.
What did my son do with his life? Oh, that's so funny. So funny.
You're going to laugh about this. My mom only had. My parents were I adored my parents. I lucked out and had the most wonderful parents.
Oh.
But my mom only had one review of mine ever on her refrigerator that was cut out, and it was a review for Dumb and Dumber. And it was I wish I could remember or figure out what review, like what paper it was from. But the line in it that was highlighted, that was why she had it on the refrigerator, the reviewer said, "The writers' mothers should be ashamed of themselves."
Oh my God.
Was the
she
one
was
review.
Very funny too, right? She meant that in a funny way.
Of course, she was
just constantly.
That was the one she was most proud of. Yeah.
That is so funny. Well, they don't know anything. It's the audience that knows. That's so awesome. What a great story. Oh my God. So what are you up to these days?
Well,
are you allowed to ask?
Well, there was this up to literally 14 hours ago, I was on strike for 5 months.
That's a good point.
I was there on the front line. I was there the first day, and I was there the last day. I was there the last Friday. I was there.
Oh, wow. Are you
and in
happy
between,
with the outcome?
We finally yesterday got the they sent it to us, and we made we're really, I think we made some. I think it's terrific what we got.
Do you think it'll last for a long time before?
You know what? That's impossible to say. I think for sure that it will last. This is only a 3-year contract, and I don't think there'll be a need to strike 3 years from now. I think it will. We can, because there are things built in that where things percentages rise per year and everything like that.
Is the protection there now from the AI? Because
yes,
that was
that's built into it, and this is all. Like if you go on the internet now, you can actually read. A lot of it won't make sense because it's so technical and things about writers' rooms and things like that. But we held out. We were so strong. It so helped us that the actors SAG-AFTRA also struck.
Backed you up. Yeah.
The power of having both of us both groups on the line helped enormously, and I'm so indebted to them.
I'll be happy when the next group has finally. I don't think it'll take that long now, but
I don't think so either. I think they're already planning to get together
that's
and
good.
talk. But I'm very pleased. But I'm basically retired from screenwriting.
Oh wow!
I sort of retired a few years ago. So although ironic, hours before the strike began, I sold a supernatural thriller that I wrote with the writing partner I've been writing with now for 14 years, cool. James Johnston. And we wrote it
once in a while as the mood strikes you.
We've with James. We've written all over the place. We've done family movies. We've done we did a Christmas movie. We've done horror.
One of those, and the strike kind of halted everything, but now we'll see.
So I'm all over the place with genre, but I prefer comedy. But the biggest challenge to write anything is, can you get to the end with it? Can you take this idea and enthusiastically cross the finish line with it, and then do all the things you're going to need to do to it in its future life, if it happens to have one? Can you continue keep that passion going? That's hard to do, and it's hard to find. That's why it's hard to pick a project. There's either you get brought in on something and you respond to it. Like there are producers who are looking for writers to write material that they have the rights to, or you're hired to do a rewrite of something and you read the rewrite and you go, I know how to fix this. And so that's passion. Or you sit around for weeks going, okay, what's something we can write on our own?
Yeah.
That's an idea that we can generate. So this was an idea we could write on our own, and it's called Traction. And
what's it called?
It's called Traction.
Traction.
It's a supernatural thriller about a woman in a hospital who she wakes up in a hospital room. She's in traction. She has no idea who she is, where she is, how she got there. Nothing. She has amnesia, and something doesn't want her to be there. That's the supernatural part, and she can't escape. So,
that's cool. Creepy.
And so we sold it. The irony is that we sold it because the reason we sold it is because the producer who'd been hovering around it for months knew the strike was coming and thought, well, I better buy this, because if I buy this, I could move forward and make it possibly during the strike. But if I don't, I'm going to have to wait for, I don't know how long the strike is going to take.
Yeah.
So he asked us the Friday before the strike, he said, are you guys really going to strike? And we said, yes. He says, then I want to buy Traction. So
my gosh.
Hours before, we literally got the paper. We had to rush the paperwork and got it done hours before. And then he owned it now. And the irony was we couldn't work on it because we're on strike. So we couldn't touch it.
But now he can move forward, and
now he can if he wants to bring us in.
He got the pre-strike rates probably, so it's all good, right? Like
that's right. There's no, exactly. He got us before the price changed, and that was another smart move on his part.
Yeah, it is actually. So I was really worried because we're a colleague of mine. We're coming to AFM in November, and we were going, do we go? Because you kind of feel like, I'm not a guild member. Yeah, that's the goal of mine. But I started my career in my 40s. So, but it's like, do we go? That feels wrong. And we kept calling AFM. I think we drove them nuts because they're like, but we're for indie filmmakers and we're going full steam ahead. And when I heard it was over, I'm like, oh, thank God. Because now I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. No, go. Yeah, it's fine. And by November, it's very possible. Almost.
I hope so. The actors
strike will be over too, and then they're really now they're going to be looking for material. So it might be more competitive because there'll be a flood of material. Still, they'll be looking.
It could be. So, but I just want the experience, and I love talking and meeting people. So, what advice? And then we'll do our 5 for 5. What advice would you share with anybody wanting to jump into this field?
Well, don't jump. No, here's the simplistic advice I'm going to give. So much has changed over the years.
Right.
With the business, so much has changed the way it operates, and the whole streaming has changed the face of the business dramatically. Things like that. But one thing that hasn't changed, and that's why I'm giving it as advice, is if this is what you want to do and you have a passion for doing it, you need to ride that passion to the very end, and you don't give up. That's my advice. Don't give up, because you may be competing with a lot of people, and that's and even more than you think.
There's a lot.
And you may go like, I don't have a chance. But the bottom line is, if you give up, all of them rise. They just all rose another. And so you stick with it, and you're rising and rising as other people are giving up. And just let your passion guide you. If you feel you have to do it, if you feel you can't not do it, and stick with it. Stick with this is my big wisdom.
That's great wisdom. Never give up.
Don't give up. If you really believe in it and believe in yourself, don't give up. That's your nuclear furnace that will keep you going, and it should.
I love that. I love it. Yeah. And, I was born telling stories. I used to gather the kids around when I was like 5 and 6 we'd sit on the sewer in Ohio, and I would tell stories. I'd be like, tell me this, tell me that. And I'd put these stories together, and I'd scare the pants out of them. They'd run home crying. Their parents would call my mom and complain that, your daughter can't come around our children anymore because they're not sleeping at night.
She's a scary storyteller. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a passion, and I did it for music for a long, long time until I lost my vision. And it was funny, but I had to close my performing arts school when I went blind. And because that happened to me, I can see now some, but because that happened to me, I ended up becoming a writer in my 40s. And I've written like 60 screenplays, and I don't stop because all these stories are inside of me. I'm a zombie writer, So
that's great.
Now my son's 22 and he writes with me. We've done several. We put out a feature film last year. Like we're working.
Oh, nice.
We're trying.
I love that.
Yeah, cool. Mother and son. It's really weird.
That inspires me.
You can't write about sex. That's off the table.
Right. Let his next collaborator.
But I have loved talking to you. You're so awesome and so much to share that I feel like I'm walking through my life. It's so awesome. But if you're ready, I want to ask you.
Hit me.
Oh, serious? That easy? Okay. Question number one. Okay. What's your favorite food?
Oh my gosh.
It's hard.
Gosh, this is tough, but you know what? There's a reason why I'll answer this. Only because my mom used to make the most incredible chocolate chip banana bread. I have two older sisters, and I've never tasted a banana bread that has been as good. And like 3 weeks ago,
I love that.
I found this company in Oahu called Makua Banana Bread. And I said, I'm going to try one of their chocolate chip banana bread loaves. So
cheating on your mother, but no.
They sent it, like in honor of my mom. And it came, and I'm telling you, Renelle, exactly. I took a bite of it, and I had tears in my eyes because it brought back all my childhood memories. So I ate it, and I was like, I can't believe. I called my sister. I said, I have found Mom's banana bread.
Did you send them some bread so they could
Yes. I sent my Freda, I sent my sister Freda, and she got hers a few days ago, and she said, Bennett, it's exactly so right now.
Oh, that's cool.
I have some left in the refrigerator because I bought 2 loaves, and they're really small. They're about that big.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
For the moment this week, Helen Yellin's chocolate chip banana bread.
Again. I love that. Oh my God, I never would have expected that. I can't see. I'm blind as a bat. Okay. Question number 2.
Yes.
I should have this memorized, but I don't. What is something in life, non-writing related, that inspires you or motivates you in your life?
That motivates me.
Yeah, like to get out of bed or do something.
Oh gosh, I have. It's a word that has a meaning, and the word is gratitude. I'm a huge fanatic of gratitude. I think cool. I think gratitude is a tonic that the moment you put yourself in the state of gratitude, your vision changes. You could be in a bad mood. You could be in a sad mood. You could be in an upset mood. But if you could get yourself to gratitude and recognize the things that in your life that you're grateful for, it changes everything. It changes it from black and white to Technicolor. And so I love gratitude. It's my favorite word.
Wow.
I hope that wasn't question number 5. Like, what is your favorite word? Because
well, it was. Let me write something.
All right. Get your son in. We'll write something.
I love that. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Okay. So here's another one. And you probably have a really interesting answer. I wouldn't have a good one. What is something that you dream of doing that you have not done yet?
This is I'm going to give you a really obvious, clear answer, because one of the things that I really want to do more is travel and see the world. And I know that, and I was inspired because I'm like, when I travel, I am truly like a little boy who has never been out of
anywhere.
My jaw is dropped everywhere I go. My jaw is dropped, like, whoa. And I love seeing things. So I've always wanted to go to Italy, and I haven't been yet. And so that's jostling up to, that's pretty much at the top of my list now although I'm for where I want to go next. So I want to travel more, and I really want to see. Are you a
touristy traveler, or do you go and enmesh yourself like within the people that live?
It all depends. You can actually do both. I don't know. For me, it's not necessarily an either or there. I mean, you can be a tourist and enmesh yourself. But if it's sometimes I like a vacation where I'm relaxing. When I go someplace tropical, I'm relaxing. But it's all about.
You're all about it, no matter what.
Tell me about this. But I just got back from a Mediterranean trip that was just phenomenally great, and I love to see the world. That to me, it's not possessions. It's accumulation of experience, and
I like that. Yeah,
what I like. So
really nice. Okay, here's a fun one.
Yeah.
What is your favorite song to sing when you're driving in your car at the top of your lungs?
Oh gosh. I sing a lot. I can't. Oh my gosh! I'm so overwhelmed by that I sing a lot, and some of my favorite singers. It's not necessarily contemporary stuff. Although I have been screaming Padam lately, just because of the Kylie Minogue's Padam a lot. But I love that my singers are Shaka Khan, Al Jarreau.
Oh yeah.
Annie Lennox. Oh my gosh, the Eurythmics.
Is one of my favorites.
Eurythmics.
That's one I used to sing.
The Eurythmics are my favorite, but then Steely Dan. I love those groups. So when I put them on, I am shrieking. It's just where I am in my mood. I love to sing.
So
I love
awesome.
to sing a lot. Yeah,
that's so cool. You know what your next career is going to be. You just haven't gotten there yet. No,
absolutely not. But to me, singing is the most raw, vulnerable, open-hearted thing, more so than acting. It's all you, and it's all the emotion. Yeah. It's all that voice, and you, and
I love it. I've been yelled at a few times because I tend to sing and not know it, and I'll sing at like the dining table, things like that. Yeah. And they're like, Renelle, you don't need to do that here. Like I just do.
I'm very musical.
I don't even know it.
I'm very musical, and I will remember a tune. I remember tunes, commercials from when I was a kid. I think I have close to a phonographic memory. All I have to do is hear it a couple times, and I could sing it for you again. My head's always full of tunes.
You want to bust out a tune now? I mean, we got a minute.
Absolutely not. Next question.
I'm just harassing you. Okay. Okay. Last question, and then I will quit harassing you. What is your favorite movie? And you can't say one that you wrote.
And I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't. But I'll tell you, I'll give you, it's almost impossible for me to say a favorite because.
Me too.
Because there isn't a favorite. There are favorite, like my favorite comedy. I could tell you that, my favorite horror movie or my favorite ghost story. I could tell you all those things, but there isn't one movie that I would say is a favorite. But I will say, I'm going to give you this one because this is the movie that when I saw this movie when I was at UCLA, and I said, that's the kind of that's the kind of movie I want to write. Because already I was like, I was fantasizing that I want to write movies, But when I said, that's it, because everything in that movie comes together. It was introduced, and then it was like an introduction to screenwriting. It opened my eyes to the possibilities of how clever and smart and well constructed a screenplay could be. And the movie is Some Like It Hot. That is, which I've seen endlessly. I've seen it many times. It has the magical essence,
musical element, and
it's a period piece. So it takes place in 1929, but it was made in 1959. So it's already out of time. And everything about it is perfection.
That's a cool answer. I love that.
Yeah, and it's my favorite comedy. It is. Yeah.
Some Like It Hot. Very, very cool. You have been awesome to talk to today, Bennett.
Thank you. You were great. You laughed at all the right places, which is really important.
I practiced.
And when we're done, I'm going to go check in the kitchen, and I'm going to send you an email about my little furry friend.
Yes. Okay. Maybe he's running a field free somewhere.
He may have set it off, or he may be sitting somewhere under the dryer with a huge pile of cheese. I was going to say
he's eating the cheese, and he's probably broken out some wine or something. And
yeah, he's probably like going more.
Dude, I'm not leaving. Yep.
Little
give me
hands.
the car or something. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. Good luck.
And thank you, Renelle.
And I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you very much, too. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the great questions, and thanks for letting me be here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
You too.
Movie Making with Renelle Goldman is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more. www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.samiraentertainment.com. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Goldman. Be sure to come back for our next episode where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.